want you right here next to me. I have a feeling that this will be a night we will never forget. So come a little closer, babe, 'cause tonight it's just you and me. I have a feeling that this will be a night we will never forget.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2020. We're up to our second series of the night. I know, starting a little bit late, but our APK Prince versus Afrika Freak series went a lot longer than we expected. Also, a lot of things went unexpected, but look, these things happen. We can leave that game in the past and move on to SANDBOX versus Griffin, which is going to be a really interesting history lesson, followed up by what the reality is, which could be very, very different to what we've experienced thus far. Pretty sure the win record for Griffin is pretty damn high against SANDBOX.
Yeah, but this Griffin team is different than the previous Griffin team of old.
Yeah.
As this one is currently in 9th place, and at the end of tonight could be in 10th.
Yeah, if this is a 2-0 for SANDBOX, Griffin are officially the last place team in the league.
Yeah.
With nobody else there rivaling them. So it's the opposite Griffin to what the one we've been seeing in regular seasons past.
It's Sword going up against Summit.
Yeah. I think that if SANDBOX find themselves the Orn ban button, I think things are going to be very rough for Griffin. The closest they got to a win was with that.
Yeah, it's with the Orn as well as just with the massive scaling edges that they had, almost bringing them to victory. Now, interestingly enough, though, Sword, in some of their last games, was their best player, as weird as that sounds. Remember, Tarzan has fallen under the George of the Jungle symptoms, or problem here. He's no longer the king of the jungle.
Yeah, definitely a little bit
shaky.
Little bit George. I'm expecting Tarzan to turn things around here. I imagine that he was probably practicing pretty hard in his couple of days off, and so probably wants to prove himself here up against OnFleek's Olaf, which is a matchup he's very used to. I mean, these squads been playing against each other for 2 years plus now, because they were together in Challenger and then they promoted together to the LCK. So they know each other very, very well. And I'm very interested to see what they can now do. SANDBOX 2-0 win at Kesper Cup Finals. So already demonstrating that Griffin not necessarily an issue for SANDBOX so far. Interested to show you guys what the rosters are going to be. A slight adjustment here and there. But you can see Dragon percentage is pretty damn high. Do you know why? It's because there's been 2 Olafs and 3 Rek'Sais being played by OnFleek. He's been able to get around the jungle early quite effectively.
And I mean, take a look at Griffin's stats. They are almost last place in everything.
Yeah.
On their stat board right here. Sword, this was Afrika sieging the bottom tier 2 turret, and Sword actually getting quite a lot of value. They managed to turn this around, and this was a byproduct of Afrika just being super impatient.
We have to remember
throwing the game back.
Yeah, having a look at these highlights, we have to remember who the enemy nameplates belong to and how close these series actually were.
Yeah.
Because it says 0-2-0-2, right, on their record, which feels really bad, but so many of these games came down to really clutch moments and incredibly difficult to call situations that, honestly, Griffin should have won. So they've been up against Afrika and Gen G, our top 2 teams after week 1. So maybe not exactly an accurate representation of their power level, as SANDBOX, they had their debut against APK Prince and they looked like gods, and then Dragon X proved to be a little bit more of an issue for them.
Yeah. SANDBOX made quick work of APK. Dragon X in this video, Summit, just phenomenal on his Aatrox.
But he was stubborn. He played the Aatrox 3 games in a row, and they couldn't make it work for the majority of them. Dove, however, his Zoe is just legitimately good. Pretty sure Deft had full health here, by the way, and then he definitely did not. So, looking forward to seeing how this one is going to go. Summit now up against Sword in this matchup. As it was Doran in the last one. Doran actually playing surprisingly well in his debut game. Missed out on the first one, but came in the next. And Sword, the previous starter with Doran behind him on Griffin, now has Antara there instead. This could be a really rough matchup for the Griffin top laner because Summit is just really good and plays the lane better than most.
And the funniest thing is that this key player thing right here is Summit's stats don't look, or they don't reflect who he really is as a player.
Yeah, I don't think he's found himself yet.
And so, as the split draws on, I imagine that things will become better and better if he does keep getting featured in the key player matchup in regards to his stats. And for Griffin, the question is ultimately going to be today, is Tarzan going to...
It's King or George. That's the question that we're going to ask.
Right. Is it King or George?
Yep.
Or is it King George?
Ooh.
That's when you actually
So
five-head
that's
a path,
actually his redemption
and then you
part.
fail mechanically.
No. That's what his redemption arc is.
Oh yeah? Tell me
He
about
went
it.
from the king, he became George, and now his like return to kingdom is
as
King George.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I like what you just did there.
I'm very excited about this. Also excited to welcome Root and Joker to the bottom lane. First time we've seen them. Leo and Gorilla having a little bit of a rest, and we're putting our different older gentlemen into the bottom lane in Joker. Looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do. Hopefully this isn't off the back of recognizing Tahm Kench being utilized nicely in the last game, because Joker did very much like Tahm Kench. I'm a little bit worried, a little bit frightened, but we shall see. So far, having a look at this roster, of course, Irove, formerly Cabby, so has been on Griffin for a very long time. Yukal and Nayeon, the two new additions to this squad. And it's going to be Yukal starting here today. Nayeon's played one game, wasn't great. He was still smiling, so that's good to know. That often doesn't change regardless of the outcomes, but this is where things change up a little bit, and I wonder what it means for SANDBOX. I was really excited when Root was announced for this roster. I think that after going through his Jin Air Purgatory, he actually did look pretty good on the roster in 2019. So seeing whether he can perform up to that level after Leo has had some really good games as well. Of course, the former T1 trainee. And Root looking very serious in his picture. First time that we've seen them so far in this new AR that we have for 2020. And here we are into ban and pick for our final series of the night, but game number 1.
Let's see what the draft phase is going to have in store for us. Will we finally get another Soraka? Now, Soraka, if Summit were to pick Soraka, that just doesn't, you know, that would be like, I don't even know what I would compare that to.
Yeah, it feels a little bit wrong.
That would be like, when I think about that, I think about like Zangief from Street Fighter wearing a dress or something like.
Yeah, that's actually sort of what I was thinking. I was thinking of Dwayne Johnson doing it.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
The Rock,
basically the same. Perfect. Anyway, Elise and Ornn. So Griffin found the Ornn button. That was the opposite team to what I was expecting. However, still Ornn off the table does mean good things mostly for SANDBOX. Means that Griffin might be looking for a set. No, they're going to look for that in the ban list as well. They have a specific first pick that they're after. Let's see what that is going to be. Or maybe they're just terrified of Summit. Not entirely sure. SANDBOX with one ban left. Aphelios taken off the board. We've discovered that you can ban him. That is a thing you can do.
Well, see if they also ban the MF or something of that nature. It's gonna be Lucian and a insta hover.
Oh, I like this.
On the Talia.
Remember, this is Yukal.
Yes.
And Yukal hard carries on this champion at will. Can also be flexed into the jungle, and Tarzan was one of our better Talia junglers. Oh no, why do we keep doing this? This weird
I like
Nautilus
how
flex
you're
stuff.
slowly getting converted.
Yeah, I
You're
know,
getting-
it's
yeah.
infecting me. It is
really
infecting
is.
me. But I was actually pretty excited about the original pick, but Senna being locked in is actually really, really
Yeah.
cool.
They'll
Another
respond
flexible
MF.
one. Yeah.
You know that MF is coming. Here
Oh,
it is. Yeah.
Well,
Now,
well,
let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay.
I kind of would
It's
prefer
gonna be
it.
MF.
Oh no!
Oh, dude. What?
Joker. Well, there we go. We know what it's there for. The Tahm Kench is coming in because one of the more popular Senna lanes has been Senna Tahm Kench around the world.
So
So
you
they're
could-
going to deny it, and
you
we're
could-
going to go back to an old favorite here for Root and Joker. No straight. Look, because they haven't played yet after
Mhm.
week one, they're like, all right, we're not going to stretch you too far. We're going to play the most standard 2019 bot lane duo in Korea. And that's what they've done.
Gragas.
I like how you just completely left
Yeah.
that alone.
I'm gonna just ignore any. Oh. Oh yeah. Slather me up.
We're really testing. We're testing LS's patience here today. That's what this draft is all about. But Gragas and Braum to be picked up here. I mean, Braum, again, going back to old Tahm Kench metas. Braum always utilized up against the Tahm Kench because you can use your passive very effectively to CC the Tahm and try and go against him that way.
See if they end up banning away the likes of Syndra. Or something of that sort. They also have option to R4 the Syndra pick, and then reserve counter pick for Summit. So they're banning away Yasuo first to take away from the Gragas Yasuo combo.
Understandable. Yukal also one of our better Yasuo players, so I do respect that one. Aurelia to be taken off the board as well. Just trying to give Sword some leeway in his top lane matchup. Wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Renekton ban next. And that does mean that Summit will have to go to a different champion unless he's actually able just to pick up his Aatrox, which, looking at SANDBOX's current composition, is likely.
Yeah, well,
Oh, they're going to ban the Renekton themselves. So Griffin do have the opportunity of just getting straight in there and taking away the Aatrox if they would like. I expect them to do so, but we'll see whether they deviate from my internal monologue plan. Because I am, of course, not the coach of Griffin. That is H-Dragon.
so
Taking
the
their
last
time.
ban is going to be, as Aurelia has already been removed, and now LeBlanc. And the LeBlanc being banned away could definitely be an insecure Zoe.
Yeah,
We've
actually,
seen that sometimes.
well, honestly, SANDBOX should just pick Zoe. Dove currently has 32% of his team's damage and has played 4 out of 5 games on Zoe. He's just good at the champion. Plus, they have a mid-game comp already. May as well just play around some Zoe bubbles and utilize it. And look, seems like my brain finally turned on. Here we go.
Griffin now probably just going to respond with Syndra.
Nah, they'll pick Aatrox first
Oh,
because they need to pick it away from Summit.
they're going to pick both here,
Ah, okay.
you know? So,
Okay. Syndra, Aatrox?
yeah, you know,
I mean, Syndra does
need
have
to-
sin in the name, and
You need to
therefore
really
that
stop.
enables the Aatrox.
exactly. You know what? I actually like how astute you are.
Look, I sometimes nail it,
Yeah.
and sometimes I don't. That's a Jace, which is pretty different. I do like it.
Okay.
Often playing around the Gragas jungle, so Gragas is now relied upon as a nuke. You've spoken about this before with Karthus jungle. Gragas can sort of do it. We've seen Cuz do fantastic things, doing maximum damage on the Gragas jungle if you can create a composition like this around it. Oh dear.
They're hovering Kennen right now.
Summit has been, it's the Keen problem.
Yeah.
This contagion that is Kennen.
Yeah, it really is. It
Yeah.
really is.
Very
Kennen
strange.
will end up being locked in here. Go up there to the top lane. So it's going to be Zoe versus Jace in mid. Kennen versus Aatrox up there in top lane. And honestly, Griffin didn't find themselves with that bad of a draft. Eventually, though, it will just come down to, can Tarzan find Gragas casks onto Zoe that can really killer, but with the Tom Kench there, it's going to be pretty hard. It just feels like if this goes into a mid to late transition, so 25 plus minutes, there's no reliable answer to Zoe.
Yeah.
And they can have all the scaling that they want.
The one thing I do like is that, you know, Zoe's portal jump is so projected that explosive cast can be very useful in those moments. You just time when she's going to pop back again, and then Tarzan can lock down that kill for the team. I do like the siege available for this Griffin roster as well. The Senna and Jace certainly will be able to crush turrets pretty effectively and make sure that everyone is at low health bars, so that then you can have Sword come around the back with a World Ender and go for that all-in engage that Gragas can certainly facilitate as well. And if they need disengage, they've got things like the Glacial Fissure, and they of course have the door that they can put up. Braum, of course, okay into the Zoe for that reason as well, because you can block Paddle Stars for your teammates that get trouble bubbled. Griffin shoring some things up here in the draft, but SANDBOX just sticking to their guns. This is a very, very SANDBOX composition right now. And see whether, once again, it works out. It worked very well against APK Prince, but Griffin might show themselves to be a very different 0-4 team than what APK were heading into today.
Well,
so if we just turned the names off, right, and we looked at both of these compositions, which one do you like the most? And which one can you identify as having more win conditions and more outs?
This one is another one that is extremely close. I think that they're favored at 2 different points. And so the nameplates to me are almost always irrelevant unless I would state otherwise.
Yep.
In terms of, whenever I say that I'm unsure if it's going to matter due to the discrepancy between teams. And obviously
like a
here...
Keen's Aatrox type situation.
Yeah. Here, if Griffin end up getting ahead, there's very little that SANDBOX can ever do, but if the game is completely even, then SANDBOX is pretty okay. Zoe, I don't know what she's doing with her Paddle Star. She did just summon one, so you can see by her Mana Pool.
Maybe throwing it into the mid lane.
Oh, Iroh showed himself, what?
All right, 2 versus 3, but nothing's going to land. And yeah, Iroh is here for some reason. Isn't too bad. Senna, of course, this is 10-2. So those nerfs haven't hit just yet. Otherwise, we would have expected Senna to likely be in the support role. And do you think that we're going to get any of these weird Senna funnels?
No.
Because we like funnels here in the LCK.
Well,
might be a thing.
Senna, from everything I've heard so far, she feels a lot worse as ADC now. But her support is really gross. She just gets a kill or two, she starts getting going.
You pack up that, stack up that passive.
Yeah.
And then everything gets better. Iroh did make it down towards this bottom side. Viper gets a free ticket towards level 2. And as this wave got shoved in, was able to pretty comfortably farm as well as Dove clears out some of this wave. Yucal hanging out here in the mid lane. See how aggressive this Jace is going to be? Does take the cleanse and the phase rush. So not exactly a full Biffo Jace build with electrocute and ignite or anything like that. Just trying to play this one a little bit more sneaky. Not too many of those to be coming out after the nerf. I think the percentage chance is like really, really low.
So far, not too much action. Summit has a massive wave up here. And let's just watch what he does right now underneath the turret.
He's just harassing the heck out of Sword. Sword
Plus
not having a great time.
To miss the cannon, and Sword is getting rode quite a lot in the CS department right now.
Yep, early days, early days. He's taken Electrocute as well on this Aatrox, an aggressive choice to say the least. As Root and Joker on their first time of asking, let's see how they're going to perform. They are, you know, at least 50% closer to being the bottom lane that has the most experience against Viper, at least. The Hens, of course, over at Humble Life now.
Okay,
Yeah,
well.
life for Sword doesn't seem to be getting better. LS?
No, it doesn't.
If you were to read out his future, would you say that things are looking brighter?
I would
like,
say
what's the horoscope saying?
The horoscope is saying to me that he's gonna die at level 5.5. Okay, that's
Level
what the
5.5.
level 5.5. Okay, he's gonna end up dying for unknown reasons.
Unknown reasons.
Unknown reasons.
So our observers aren't going to catch it,
Oh,
and
they're
we are
gonna-
guaranteed to not have a replay. It has to be completely unknown.
Now, if you notice what's happening right now, the wave is pushing away from Sword.
Yes.
And Summit is looking to get a freeze off. And now on Fleek is here, and you will notice that Summit...
Not quite level 5 yet, so sorry, Onfleet. You are not welcome in this lane. Horoscope states differently. Always fact, by the way.
This lane is so over. Now, Gragas is going to Predator top lane, but Kennen is going to end up hitting level 6 on this next incoming wave.
Ooh, and the Scryer's Bloom is going to spot everything. Tarzan comes up with vision. The reason why I used it is because he was well aware that the vision was in the area, judging by Onfleek's proximity.
Almond Bar is down there in bot lane. I mean, nothing is really happening so far in this game, and if you're a SANDBOX fan, you're completely content with that. Obviously, Tarzan being in close proximity allowed Sword to try to get the craft on the wave, but at the end of it, Summit is already going to be up, I believe, 25 or 26 CS.
This is actually a big deal, though, because Griffin now have to worry about Summit getting completely out of control.
Yeah.
And it means that Onfleek is able to do this. For example, continue SANDBOX's fantastic Drake record. But also, he's able to just straight up hard farm, get himself towards the mid game that he's comfortable with, grab his first item, things like that. Dove always has a redemption by at least level 5.
Yes.
Does so once again. As UCal has the most experience in the game. But so far, the start for SANDBOX has been very good. I think they just need to ban redemption from Zoe's.
Do you like it?
I'm not a big. It just feels a little bit.
You're
unfair.
not a hashtag fan?
No, not really. I am a big fan of Summit though. He's very good at the video game. Currently double
Now,
CS.
I also have no idea about Sword's itemization. Picked up a Doran's
soldier.
blade. Well, he picked up a Doran's blade and then he ended up getting boots. Now, the interesting thing about the Doran's blade in terms of sustain, which I assume is what he's picking it up for against Kennen, is I believe that in order to get greater healing than that of Cull, I think you need 167 AD? Something like that. And so, otherwise you're just getting it for the small amount of HP that it ends up granting you, but why would you not just...
Yeah, he's not going to be able to auto-attack that much in this lane, really.
Yeah, exactly, that as well. So, the item choice just really perplexes me as to why it's not just a null magic mantle.
Yeah.
And you can see Summit going Proto Belt first item. He acknowledges his current advantage.
And let's
And
try
he's
and press
wanting
it forward, yeah.
Right. He wants to try to press it forward, and he's going to do that by purchasing one of the quickest first 4 items that you can achieve in the game.
I wonder whether he's going to go Gunblade after this as well.
I would hope not. There's no AP.
Oh, wait. Do they... I don't think they... I'm trying to work out how the Hextech change was. Never mind. I think you can still use both of them. But it's been a while. There's now like the 3 Hextech items.
Yes.
I was wondering whether they share cooldowns. I don't think so. Don't remember. Let me know in chat if you guys have any idea. Has my brain stopped working? Cooldown is shared. According to Twitch chat, so...
Twitch chat is sentient. They know all.
It generally, yes.
They really are. Look.
The collective minds of the
Honestly,
40,000 people in Twitch chat, obviously.
I was watching, this was a couple of years ago, I was watching Lee Sedol versus AlphaGo, and I just thought to myself, can you just please connect the Twitch chat? You know, like, this Alpha whatever program, it's no match.
Nope. Well, Summit continues to make life hard for Sword. He grabs himself his Mercury Treads, so maybe that will help out. At least those Mark of the Storm stacks not going to be stunning for too much longer. Root still behind. Viper actually doing a great job controlling this lane, as he might look for a recall relatively soon for that Neuromancer.
This is the biggest lull state that we have had in an early game, Atlas.
Yeah, I think so, for a long time.
Yeah, a really long time. I have no idea
But
how
what
this
does
is.
it
I mean,
mean?
well, what it means is that currently Summit is threatening to be about 40, 50 CS up by the time Sword is going to do his next recall. And that is where all the gold advantage really is coming from. At the top of the gold graph. Lethality item going to be the first purchase for Jace.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for a Duskblade. It's generally what you're going to go with if you've got these two. Of course, Ghostblade does use the same items, but it's just not really the one that you're looking for. It's far more raw stats on that Duskblade of Drakthar. The Sword was very close to missing that cannon, but I'm impressed Sword managed to grab it. Summit will be able to go back and grab the Proto Belt on his next back. Is on fleek, looking to go home. Sword not greedy, only wants one of the honey fruit.
Yeah, only. I mean, he's really just he's on the app that counts how much you've ate today. Yeah.
Okay.
The app told him not to have any more honey fruit.
But he could have one.
But and look at Mr. Piggy over here. Tarzan, George of the Jungle, ran over. I think he stepped over all of it.
I think he may have just eaten it all. He needs to install the app. I just don't think he's got it yet. That might be it.
What was it, Miss Piggy? Or is it Mrs. Piggy from
Yeah, Little Miss Piggy.
from what is it?
Muppets?
Muppet? Yeah, Muppet.
Yeah. It's just
Jeez.
Miss Piggy.
You remember that, huh?
Yeah, dude, I'm a bit of a boomer, you know that.
You remember
like me
Arthur?
some Sesame Street. Loved Arthur, dude.
I loved Arthur actually.
Did
too.
you like DW?
The girl?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She reminded me of my little sister a lot. At the age that I was,
Wasn't
which meant that
DW
I
a
thought
jerk?
she was a bit annoying.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I love my sister now.
Do you remember Hey Arthur?
We're both in our... What?
Hey
Arnold?
Arthur?
You mean Hey Arnold?
Oh, I thought. Oh yeah, Hey Arnold.
Football head.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that show.
Yeah.
The show was great. You remember
is great.
Our Real Monsters? We're on a Nickelodeon bend right now. No, don't remember the Our
Remember
Real Monsters?
Goosebumps?
Yeah, I remember Goosebumps.
Okay. Do you
I had the
remember
books.
Afraid of the Dark?
Yes.
Oh, that's some boomer technology.
Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Yeah.
All right, Root and Joker have found themselves here, grabbing at least even in farm, but I guess that's a whole wave behind technically. As Sword, Electrocute going to be put to good use here as World Ender is just negated. As now Dove is being looked for. That's an empowered shock blast, and Tarzan says, "Get back here!" As Griffin move on up, they're unable to actually contest the Drake, but grabbing first blood onto their Jace.
And also
Might
the
help
Rift
them move
Herald.
forward.
Yeah, the Rift Herald's gonna be spawned right now. A little bit late, but doesn't matter.
Oh, it is on Fleek's favorite time, though. Time to pick up lane minions.
That is any jungler's favorite time.
Loves it a lot. That control ward very close to being able to see that ward, but isn't able to. Iroh is going to arrive in the bottom lane.
3 plates going down in bottom.
A little bit rough that Dove falls down there because there is so much vision available for SANDBOX on the bottom side, and after you've made an investment like that, you really would prefer to be able to guarantee your safety.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to happen.
Let's take a look at how this all happened. Dove really greeting for some of the damage on UCal right there. Ends up flashing really late.
Cask was just stunning, though. Really nice stuff coming out from Tarzan. Might be demonstrating that George is about to be promoted.
And now at this point, 800 gold lead for SANDBOX, and unfortunately for them, a very lackluster Soul.
Yeah,
Is
Cloud's all
going to
coming in
come up.
again. But movement speed on ult cooldown, pretty good for a cannon.
And an Olaf.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah, not so
Also
bad.
helps Root Kite.
Okay,
You know,
sure.
helps Joker run around a lot faster after he gets out of the floor. With the Abyssal Voyage.
How do you know that he goes through a floor? How do you know he doesn't?
Oh, it depends where he uses it.
How do you know? You understand?
Yeah,
what, you
absolutely.
understand the physics behind the Abyssal Void?
Yeah, it goes into the whatever is
Oh.
standing on.
Sure,
and
okay.
then up out of
Yeah,
whatever,
whatever.
else.
Yeah, whatever, Mr. Smarty Pants. Sure.
Well, just identifying what the.
Alex,
the
you don't
thing
have
is.
to brag.
Do you know what
about-
I think is the most impressive about Tom
What?
Kench? He seems to repair every single hole that he makes. Whereas you got Rek'Sai on the other side,
That
she just
really-
leaves
yeah.
all of her tunnels everywhere.
She just leaves messes everywhere she goes.
Yeah, but Tom Kench, no,
Tom
he's not about
Kench-
that life.
Yeah, he's not.
He tidies up instantly.
Yeah.
on
Some
the
might
way.
even say that he has OCD.
Yeah, maybe.
He definitely is a clean guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really tell by the way that he takes care of himself, too.
I think that must be it.
Yeah.
It's because he does certainly look like a well-groomed gentleman.
He definitely is. And I mean, you take a look at his fashion sense as well, and
Yeah, there's many outfits that he does have available
Indeed.
to him.
he's a man of many jobs, too. I mean, you've seen him in the chef outfit.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Certainly able to take care of his friends. Currently, just sitting in his pajamas. This is the original. His birthday suit, as it were. That's a great flash
Okay,
out
well.
from Summit. Tarzan just went Georgian.
There's something that got me about that. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. I wasn't making an Atlanta reference or anything like
Oh,
that. As
one
if
more time.
At first, you don't succeed. Try again. However, Summit should be able to get to position.
Wait, Summit's dead now.
Well, unless he can get himself some stuns, because of course that does damage to minions now. His sword has to flash to get out of the way. And so for that dive, what they've decided to do is just bring another member to the top lane.
Okay.
Summit doing the very best he can. As Yukal could be in trouble, misses the first axe though, does OnFleek, and leaves it on the floor. As now Yukal forcing the flash out from OnFleek's Olaf. This should mean the turret falls down. So in the end, Griffin actually doing pretty well in the exchange. But in the
Viper.
meantime, the bottom outer turret fell.
Viper down in bot lane, just trying to collect whatever it is that he can.
This is feeling like a real Griffin game. You know, one of those games where there's just not a lot on the kill score. As Summit,
탑
we're
뺄게,
going to
탑
check
뺄게,
out the
탑
pro
뺄게.
view.
아, 나 왔다. 긁어 노플, 긁어 노플.
Did the...
Gragas
노플
no flash
노플
for-
노플 진짜?
No ult, no flash. Then he said Jinta, which means seriously, as if maybe his teammates wouldn't believe.
Yeah, I'm actually really confused what happened there as well, because I feel like the you shouldn't be able to react fast enough to a flash body slam unless you pre-flash. But it didn't really look like he pre-flashed. It looked like Tarzan missed. It was weird.
Well, I will tell you one thing. We do have an Oblivion Orb on Kennen. And the enemy already has magic resistances. And there is certainly an argument to be had for Morello this game, though, because of Senna. Senna is present in addition to Atrox and I suppose the later stages, although he's lacking Conqueror. So it's just going to be the Death Stance. Senna does get quite obnoxious, though.
She does. In fact, Ultimate and Q both doing some pretty ridiculous healing. Although Ultimate more about the shield, I guess. Now Cloud Drake #1 is going to be started. Shock Blast narrowly avoided there. Joker understanding his width very, very well. No stranger to Timothy Kenshin's. Double Bubble goes wide. Dove needs to be careful though. They're reacting to this Zoe in this mid game very, very well. Over on the side of Griffin, Sword looking for his flank opportunity as the cask is not the one that you want. As now Sword maybe in a little bit early. Ragnarok coming down, goes Golden. Does the Aatrox as Tarzan locks down the first Cloud Drake. Sword in trouble, he's going to go down first as Root grabs it. Summit, gigantic damage into the backline as Dove looking for Viper. Portal jump, not going to find it. Trouble Bubble was so close with the vision available, but not quite there. And SANDBOX do get themselves the team fight that they were looking for.
They end up winning the team fight. They're going to be able to convert this into a mid-tier 1 turret capture and even cancel Viper's recall to boot. So after this, most likely going to also get the Rift Herald probably off the back of this fight. Not right away, but post-recall for sure.
I think it's really...
Although there's only 1 minute left, so actually maybe neither team will end up getting it. But take a look at this replay. Summit gets knocked away by the cast. Sword going in there on Olaf. Senna ultimate comes out, and then Summit says, okay, this is my time. Looks like he's about to go down onto Sword, and then
Summit.
takes the turn in with the slicing Maelstrom, not able to get onto Viper, and as you said, that bubble almost hit.
It was close. You, of course, have to get it in specific angles as, yeah, 3,000 damage in what was about 2 seconds of Summit being alive. Because, of course, the Oblivion Orb Sorcerer's Shoes Protobelt build is not exactly a large amount of survivability. He's going for the Morellonomicon very quickly. We'll have one on Dove as well. Like we were talking about, it's not going to make us, you know, rip our hair out this time around, as we generally do treat Forbidden Book purchases. But Senna really is one of those champions where things can be different, especially when paired with Aatrox, whose World Ender requires Grievous Wounds, and Gragas to a certain extent, with his W being quite obnoxious. So one of those games where you're certainly not going to fault them. Root going for what feels like a bit of a different build, because normally it's a recurve bow in his back pocket instead of that Zeal. This time around looks like it's going to be Runan's Hurricane first. Understanding that, you know, there will be likely to be a Gragas, a Aatrox, and a Braum in his face. So more AoE damage is always better. Unless it's going to be an early Phantom Dancer, which wouldn't be too bad either if he's caught out. I'd be interested. No, it's going to be Runan's Hurricane. I got to stick to my guns. Been getting some things right today. Well, Root's going to come back, and it's a bit of an extended LoL state situation here. 3,000 gold the lead for SANDBOX. Things pretty together. And honestly, when it comes to the anti-SANDBOX playbook that I think everybody should have downloaded, who is in the LCK, you should probably realize that you need to put SANDBOX behind as quickly as you can.
Yeah, if they're behind, they have a lot of difficulty playing back from it, but on even or ahead footing, they tend to be pretty okay. And also, in this game, we're just having a lot of posturing. A minute and a half until the next Cloud Dragon, but it's not a soul. No turret has fallen yet.
Yeah, not
that
in,
is going to be
this
meaningful.
Moment. Yeah.
At this stage of the game, because the mid-tier 1 turret is just a thorn in Griffin's side. Because with the Zoe and the bubbles and stuff, this coverage that the turret grants in terms of safety is just really valuable at this stage of the game. Now, the mid-tier 1 turret is on its last leg, but still providing a lot of safety.
Yeah, it's the vision that it provides. Often, like, when we're talking about turrets being alive and you see them on a sliver of health, you're like, well, that's not going to do anything. Even through a backdoor bonus, you can just kill it. Yeah. But what it's doing is providing SANDBOX with guaranteed information that no one has passed through that area, which is why you see a lot of these wards put down on dead turrets to try and mimic that sort of vision control. I know a lot of you guys know that already, but sometimes these things need to be explained more than once. Tarzan possibly going to be discovered here, but OnFleek sees him, gets the heck out of there. As Joker just wanders on over. Really haven't seen, pardon me, haven't seen Tahm Kench's original skin for a really long time. I feel like Tahm Kench, you know, Master Chef is like really popular, as well as his cool Lunar New Year skin as well. It's
been a while since he's left the house.
That's true.
So
forgot to get changed. Wasn't expecting much work today.
Oh, hold on, mating ritual.
Timothy and Tom. Timothy and Shelly
now
just hanging out.
I don't like the Morello pickup from Zoe because her role is a little bit different than Kennen, who is going to get a multi-man slicing Maelstrom.
Yeah, gets to stack the
Yes. Zoe, she just wants to kill you in one shot, and so the Morello being picked up on her when it's already unreliable for her to apply the debuff.
What you want to do is allow for follow-up damage to come in, though, and that's where I can sort of understand, because Senna is right there with Piercing Darkness to immediately give a big health boost. So I can understand that side of the argument a little bit better. But has it anyway. Dove got a Super Soaker on the Zoe. I like the amount of GLPs that we have running around. But still only 2,500 gold, something like that. This game yet to blow open. So we're looking for Cloud Soul. Griffin were able to grab themselves one of these Cloud Drakes, but the most recent one was just soloed out, I believe, by OnFleek. He's got a big lead, but another person who's got a big lead is Summit. Really letting us know why he decided to pick up this cannon. He's been playing very, very well thus far.
We're in this game has been a lull state.
It has.
It really has. We've had 1 kill on average every 5 minutes.
Hasn't been the worst lull state though, because I've liked some of the decisions made. You know, it's not all bad.
Well, just lots of posturing here. Maybe it'll end up going all the way until a 4th.
It might just
Dragon?
be Baron.
It could also go to Baron. I mean, we're getting to the point where Baron is becoming a real possibility. Varus looks like he's going to be building Bloodthirster as his 3rd item.
Double
Jace,
life steal.
Yeah, Jace going to end up getting another lethality item. It looks like even Atrox with his Warhammer. Let's see what he ends up purchasing. As, do you really want to complete Into Death's Dance at this point? Probably not.
Yeah.
The enemy has 2 Morellos. You're not going to get a lot of value out of it. You don't have Conqueror. You have Electrocute instead, so there's a lot of stuff going on. This game is in a very awkward stalemate, and when you have a team composition like what Griffin's has, going longer and longer into the game does not feel good. These champions start to get a little bit worse, with the only exception really being Senna and Gragas. And Gragas, fortunately for him, he isn't doing that bad in this game. He has the Oblivion Orb, and no one on the side of SANDBOX has any magic resistance. You can even see Kennen, bottom right, 39 MR.
Yeah. It's working out very well. Hasn't actually found too many targets yet, but the next fight, just watch out for Tarzan, see whether he can get some angles. That explosive cast could definitely be something to look out for. Currently even as far as levels with OnFleek. Is Griffin all submerged with the help of Viper. Be able to prestige that particular skin pretty soon.
And
Tarzan was thinking about looking for Summit, but doesn't get it.
Not gonna find him. And by the way, Gragas is wearing his base skin.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know why. To look like Tarzan, you know? Because he just runs around with...
yeah, that's true.
It.
That's true.
But, I mean, he's really let himself go.
I feel like the physique certainly is not our King of the Jungle physique.
Well, you just haven't seen the remake.
Well, that is a good point.
Yeah. Is there a remake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yes, his body did not look like that.
Okay.
I'll tell you that much.
So the remake.
The remake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, one of them.
I like
coming
the
up
Disney
soon.
one. Disney one's
I
my
really like
favorite.
this. Now, this is the welcome to the K-Ram. They've adopted this actually recently. They've noticed that
Summit could just be dead here. Joker is going to devour him. Flashes out of the dawning shadow. He's now Sword thinking about this as his opportunity, but the chains that come out, that is going to keep them all alive. And the Shock Blast, even empowered, not going to make the distance. As even cheekily, you do have a bit of a Rift Scuttle steal from OnFleek on the top side. But yeah, Summit, you know, a little bit of an int, but otherwise, just costs him his flash, which does mean that it's another 5 minutes before SANDBOX can team fight. Are you all right? You had a bit of a reaction to that team fight.
I did have a bit of a reaction, yes. And
Do you
I
wanna
just
tell
want
us
to let
about
you... No, I'm perfectly fine, Atlas.
No, you're just okay with leaving that one up to audience interpretation?
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
I respect that.
As we are coming down here into bot lane right now. And Cannon just waiting on Rabadon's death cap. They've cleared out vision around the right-hand side, and so SANDBOX are the one with the low ground. Sword doing his best effort to die here.
Well, the Abyssal Voyage should certainly help that one out, as we got 4 onto 1, and that is not odds that I would be taking anytime soon, especially not when I'm as far behind as Sword is. On this Aatrox, bubble being collected here by the Cloud Drake, and so Cloud Soul now invested. SANDBOX squad not going to have to worry about cooldown timings, and certainly not going to have to worry about repositioning. They are going to be very, very zippy on this map.
Kennan's going to complete his death cap, and then from there, his engages are going to be monstrous. And Sword is just overextending, and I think that this is just him suffering from maybe mental fatigue inside of this game because it's so
It is drawn
slow
out and slow, yeah.
and very drawn out, and so he seems to have forgotten about the Abyssal Voyage, or just had a lapse of judgment with how far up he was pushed in the lane.
And also you get lulled into false senses of security when games, like we've had 6 kills in 29 minutes. This is crazy.
So slow, yeah.
Yeah.
What you're saying does end up taking place quite often. Lots of pings right there that we heard. Well, not pings, but tab pings. Like summoner, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, many tabbings.
Yeah, many, okay.
Dove was looking for someone, but that bubble is going to come up short. On Fleek, over to the side, realizes that his Krug camp is gone. Not worth as much these days, so not too much of an issue there. Bloodthirster completed. Root now has a pickaxe on it as well, and a slight CS advantage. So this game is well and truly at a snail's pace.
Okay, well, this is definitely something.
I'm just trying to think about more content here, you know? Like, what's your opinion on axolotls?
What are those?
Like Mexican walking fish.
What?
Is another way of I think was another name, but axolotl is their official name. They're like little fish. They look a bit like Tom Kench, and I thought Tom Kench was an axolotl until I found out that he was a catfish.
Yeah, he's a catfish.
And I got a little bit sad because I really liked axolotls. Used to have a pet axolotl back in the day.
Okay.
It's just a really fun name to
All right.
say over and over again.
Do
which is
you
why I've
know
done it.
what you just reminded me of when you said pet? Is
Yeah, what's that?
I recently saw, I didn't know what its breed name was, but I saw a Samoyed. Samoyed?
Oh yeah, you were talking about this.
My.
The floof.
Oh, a ploof is a bit of an understatement. It is a cloud on feet. It is something magical.
Yeah, it's majestic.
It
Definitely
really is.
majestic.
Like it's a legendary Pokemon in real life.
Yep.
So I saw that, and I think you know,
Are you gonna get one?
maybe sometime in the future, not now.
Hey, yeah. You got plenty
Also,
of room
they
at your
definitely
place,
don't.
you?
Well, I do, but not intending to stay there
Ah, okay.
for much longer. And then also, Korea doesn't actually. It's not that ideal for large pets.
Yeah, actually, I would never want to own a dog in
Yeah.
Korea. I feel like you need a backyard for a
You-
dog to be
right.
the happiest.
You need a backyard, or you need the.
A
I was
park
actually
nearby.
I was watching. Well, there's a Samoyed like breeding person facility in the States, and they have these mini treadmills that are for dogs.
Oh, that is
Oh,
really
it's the cutest thing
cute.
ever. It's the cutest thing ever. They just run on the treadmill for like 30, 45 minutes.
So adorable.
And the owners are very elderly, so I assume that it's either that or you hire someone to take them on walks, but the dogs just seem like they're in heaven when they're on the treadmill. They have little boots or something that they wear too.
I like it.
It's great.
By the way, guys, just to go back to the game just for 1 second, an attempted Baron happened. SANDBOX peeled away from it because they managed to get the teleport like they were looking for, and now they can put on whichever much pressure that they would like for the next 5 minutes or so, knowing that Sword will have to be grouped as 5 for the entirety of that time. And what they make of that is yet to be discovered. 60 CS, I believe, is the gap between Summit and Sword. 50, give or take. It's a big number. We've got stopwatches being collected, getting to that point where even though it's 34 minutes into this game, it's feeling a little bit like next team fight wins.
Yes. It definitely is. Elder Dragon coming up in a minute and a half, and no matter what, one of these two objectives is just going to be the game ender. And when you have games that go like this where no one gets any gold and all the champions for the most part are on even footing, comes down to one team fight, and then that's just going to decide the entire game. And when it eventually gets to that point, like I mentioned earlier on, this is the Zoe show where if she just lands a bubble, you win the game.
Yeah, and also, if she doesn't land a bubble, you don't lose the game.
You don't
That's
lose
the
the
thing.
game,
Like
yeah.
that's the ridiculous thing about Zoe at this stage, and what makes her so good is that you can just fish. And Griffin don't have those fishing options outside of UCal softening people up with these shock blasts, as we can see.
Nice.
Viper a little bit aggressive there.
I love when
Bubble's
Zoe's
going
do
to go
that.
wide. Yep. Oh
The
my
cur-
god,
Oh.
Viper. That's a great stopwatch, but it might be the end of your life. Flash has to be used as Viper very, very low, but on fleek he falls. Dawning Shadow interrupted by death. That is the best CC in the game, and now Root just kiting the Aatrox out. He's an afterthought being ignored by this SANDBOX roster. And they got their priority target. They took down the secondary. Now they'll grab a Baron and most likely push to win the game.
They're going for the Baron, but Elder is an infinitely better objective. And now this probably means that Dove is going to have to go over and defend against the Elder. I don't know what Tarzan and UCal are doing. They could already be out on the Elder Dragon.
Yeah, they could be killing it right now.
They could be killing it right now. Braum could go over, cast. What is...
Oh my goodness. Whoa, this is another one of those moments where it's like lulled
Wake
into
me
a
up.
false sense of security situation.
I think that they're asleep.
No one's aware that Elder Drake is even a possibility right now. Very weird.
Oh, man. Well, we just see a team fight that ends up breaking out, and this was a byproduct of Viper being in stasis. It just gave the opening, and even though Olaf doesn't do really anything,
Well, that's how Zoe can kill someone without even actually having to kill them or hit them with abilities. As SANDBOX, they go for their reset. So does the Elder Drake.
no.
Gonna hang out as
Here's
Dove
the-
taking a bit of damage there, but we're still going for a 50-50.
man.
Can SANDBOX effectively turn onto Tarzan as they think, nope, they don't even need to worry about it. Body Slam gets him out. And now we've got Baron, we've got Elder. Onfleek doesn't have much of a health bar, but he's got a GA. And yeah, the pain train has officially left the station. And SANDBOX, I mean, this game has been controlled, but you have to look at that top side of the map. You look at Summit, he controlled his lane from the very beginning and made the Aatrox a bit of a non-factor. So the way that Griffin were wanting to structure their team fights was just impossible because Sword didn't last long enough when he was bouncing around into the backline causing a ruckus. He just gets turned on and destroyed.
We're having the siege take place now in mid, so we have a 0-4-1 being orchestrated.
Yeah, Bubble not going to find the mark, but Root just walks up. Tanks the turret for a little while. Summit, like you were saying, part of the one. Still very, very strong. Didn't have to use the Slicing Maelstrom in and around the Elder Drake, so still has that threaten, still has flash, and still has stopwatch as well. But you can feel it. He's feeling antsy right now. I even thought maybe that was the time, but first inhibitor goes down, second will be soon to follow. But I don't think SANDBOX need to worry about spending time top lane. It might be siege time, but they decide not to. They're going to play with as much respect as possible. Rageblade just completed by Root, and if you're going to debut in a game, in the LCK stage, 3-0 and 2 certainly ain't a bad way to do it.
But there's 6 kills.
Oh, that's true. No 100% kill
Yeah,
contribution,
it's just,
so not
you know.
we're not impressed, but I wouldn't be disappointed either.
Okay, 666 is the gold score, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think that that number is taboo in Korea as well. Have you ever noticed that whenever they do damage share or anything, it's always 667?
Huh.
You ever noticed that?
Maybe that's a rounding thing. So sure. Well, that's very dead, Braum. That's one of those fishing moments that we were talking about. Tarzan gets discovered, I believe, on a sweeper. There's the undertow, and he's definitely under now. But honestly, this game has been over since the pick onto Viper. He's died once. It was the pivotal death. And it's not necessarily something that you can blame him for solely. Griffin needed to have done much more this game to stop SANDBOX from just doing whatever the heck they wanted. Because they have. They've been the team that's been making all the decisions, making all the moves. And even when they're left open, it's an issue. As Summit goes in, I think there was a center there. Not entirely sure because she's gone now. And these Nexus turrets are going to follow suit. The Nexus dies extraordinarily quickly. And that will be that. 3-9 is the kill score. The game lasted a very long time. there's almost no doubt that SANDBOX were going to win from very early on.
I mean, the game unfolded pretty picture perfect to what one would probably expect between these two colliding. It was very early and stable, or I mean, very early advantages accrued by Summit in the top lane, an extremely stable mid-game transition.
Yeah.
And then eventually, the Sinner team composition with Aatrox and Jace did not manage to get ahead or do anything. And in the mid to late transition, favor SANDBOX so heavily, and then that pickoff onto Viper that really did just seal the deal. So
I'm just thinking about what this exact composition would look like if piloted by a Freak of Freaks, or even if SANDBOX was to be on the other side of this rift, right? And you've got Summit up there commanding on the Aatrox, or you've got Keen up there on the Aatrox, who can actually become
it
a
definitely
side lane
has
threat. I think that honestly,
merit. Yeah.
SANDBOX's tactic of let's nullify Sword entirely broke the composition down completely. And this is why we talk about like comps needing to have multiple modes, because SANDBOX saw the mode that Griffin could win playing and said, well, you're not allowed to play that. And then Griffin realized, well, hang on, wait, we're trying to play this comp out the way that it's supposed to work, but it just straight up didn't. So
the players seem to be talking to each other a lot in the backstage
it's good to see.
as soon as they went back, yeah. But you have to wonder what their conclusions are of this game. And remember, the responsibility in the ask is put onto Griffin from the get-go with their champions. And when it's just not able to be met, then nothing ends up happening. So
I was just very happy that it was exactly 10,000
Can we get a
gold
Soraka
lead at
game?
the end. Well, I think you
Sword,
probably
can you just... Come on. Come on.
Maybe that's just what you need. The answer to all of your problems is Raka. That can be the next horoscope that we might read out, but we'll see. We'll have to wait until pick and ban for game number 2. But first, we will need to go to a short break before SANDBOX try and conclude this series against Griffin. Don't go anywhere.